You read that it fell. Ignore my glitter packaging, I come packing crafting.
Hello my wicked vipers, and thank you so much for joining me here on SewStitchHex. I'm Macadamia, and today I'm going to be doing a review of Mieruko-chan Volume 6. Ta! And this one is kind of a dark episode. It doesn't focus on Miko so much as everything else and giving us some more backstory on the other characters. And Mieruko-chan, if you haven't seen my series, I do have a playlist. You can probably find it somewhere, or this is in it and you've stumbled upon this. I'm hoping I can actually get this video edited and uploaded in a timely fashion, because I did not do that with Book 5. I read it as soon as I got it because I have it on pre-order, just like I have Book 7 on pre-order. But getting around to the reviewing part and having the time to edit is maddening. This is a series by Tomoki Izumi, and here's a beautiful opening with the color on the covers. So this volume, which when I first got it, gave me a very dramatic impression. Like, it just felt like it was going to be heavy. Like, I was really worried. And when I saw that bell, I was like, isn't that the bells that were near the cat guardians? And I was like, yeah, it is, because that's what we're working on right now. Duh! So, reading on the back. It's the end of the world as Miko knows it. Or at least it could be. Depends on how her second visit to the eerie shrine, home of the creepy shrine maidens and the huge monster thing, goes. With shitty top hat guy and the godmother in tow, along with copious amounts of voodoo dolls, beads, and other occult paraphernalia, they're all set to confront the big boss. Miko's role in this whole venture is to ignore it as best she can, a skill she's been honing since day one. And if you haven't figured out, there will be spoilers. This is a review and overview of this volume, so it's a full talk through. So, if you haven't read it yet, or you want to read it and be surprised, you know, I'm sorry, you're going to have to click through. Or you can just put me on mute and just watch me, like, talk with my hands. Like, that's fine. I'm not good at reading lips, don't know about you, but, hey, you know, whatever works. So, I wrote everything down so I didn't forget. So this is continuing the journey to the shrine where we had started before, where the godmother had popped up and Ram had popped up to try and, like, rescue the situation. And so they talk about, like, there's this legend in the mountains of this, like, mountain god. In reality, it's just this terrifying creature, which, to my understanding, the godmother can't quite see. But Ram and Miko, who have a similar level of perception and energy understanding, like the auras of these creatures or whatever, they can both see it. And they talk about, like, how these barriers are kind of keeping the monster in that shrine. And it can't really escape or do anything out of it, but all the creatures around it are kind of going after them because they can sense their power, sort of. So, basically, Ram, who gives me a really bad impression because he feels more like a chaotic good kind of person, as he's like, I don't know if chaotic good is the right one, but he's very chaotic for sure. I think he wants to be good, but his chaotic nature makes it hard because he kind of makes her into the bait for this whole encounter. And I was like, dude, like, really? You're going to make a little girl, you know, it's a teenager. She's a child. Let's be real. She's a young teen. Bait for a monster? The trauma in her face was absolutely appalling. Like, it hurts. This is such a cinematic and emotional series. Like, you see her when she's inside the mouth of the beast, just the way her eyes look, the way she looks, and the way it kind of breaks her down. You just see the trauma forming in her face. Like, how much therapy is she going to need after this? That's what I am here to ask. That's a question I need answered. With this episode, we get to see him being more kind of trying to prove himself, and it made me question whether or not Rom, because this episode's all about Rom and the godmother and kind of the backstory for Rom. As we go into the shrine, like very little physically happens, but there's lots of flashbacks. So we see about who Rom is and like where he came from. He was kind of taken under godmother's wing when her teacher gave him to her, because she has like this kind of lame TV show thing where she was kind of like scamming people to make money so that she could help people for real. And I'm like, just stop scamming people and just help people. I mean, I get it, you need funding, but... So she takes him under her wing, and then the godmother, as we find out, got her name from her teacher, because the teacher gives the student a name, and that's kind of almost like their stage name, which I found ironic that godmother said that, considering how outlandish and showmanship-esque Rom is. And he was happy with his name, and he was happy to be her student. The reason why he was so special and that he had been adopted kind of anyway is because of his ability to sense the creatures, which was the same as Miko or Mieruko. I'm not sure which one to go with here. But so it's the same level even at his young age. So this very powerful early development of the spiritual abilities makes him a very big target. And so he needs to have special guidance, as anyone with special needs or special abilities would have. And I think that's a very good parallel to make here. And so we find out the godmother and her student actually take care of several of these kids, kind of like Professor X and the other X-Men. That's another way. But we see Rom kind of being fueled by what I think in one way is like a subconscious feeling of inadequacy. Almost like he's peacocking because he's got like this flashy showman aspect. But on the other hand, it seems he knows what he's doing. And he's not just doing it to show off, to get attention, to be valued. It's like he wants to interact because he knows the outcome. So in this book, we get to see little Rom. Look how cute he is. Gives me that one bad guy from My Hero vibes. We see him like sitting across from a creature, kind of like knowing that he's sitting across from him. And he's just kind of mumbling to himself. And I don't know if he's trying to talk to it or what he's doing, but he is knowing that it's there. This gives us a different impression of who he is and kind of his capabilities and where his strengths lie. But we see him make the similar mistake that Mieruko did. So Mieruko-chan, she goes to the shrine, that was with Hana, and she makes this wish that they could save Hana and maybe herself too. And so how does her wish get granted? And they said they would help her 3 times. That's what the thrice was. Well, this god creature thing essentially grants wishes and will take something back. Typically the person who made the wish. And it seems that this was like a massive spoiler. This blew my mind. It's taking the people who make the wish or who come back to make their payment or give thanks, and it offers them a bell, and they kind of are unable to refuse. It has some kind of power that kind of distracts them and takes their attention away. And once they take the bell, it snatches them into itself, and basically they become one of the shrine maidens, which we found out in the very last page of the manga proper, not the bonus chapter, because we see one of the shrine maidens brutally assault the demon or creature, and it mirrored the way she would banish the evil. And so that is her. We're supposed to understand that as her. And that kind of blew my mind a little bit. So it's kind of like it's taking them. This creature is kind of tricking people into making wishes so that it can kidnap them. And if they have any spiritual power, kind of using them as its own minions so that they can fulfill the wishes so that it can make more minions. And I guess that's what feeds it, makes it more powerful, but it's also too weak to leave the shrine. So I don't know if the barrier was put there to keep it there, or if the barrier is there for it so it can just kind of stew in its own energy and not like deplete over time if no one comes to visit and be like, hey, yo, let me get a wish. So, yeah. One thing I would love to say about this volume is that it has a lot of art styles that just kind of evolved. So as the situation gets more tense, I felt like it got more liney than it had in previous issues. I don't know if it's just me, but like the instance when we're going up into Ron, it's like almost a completely different art style. You can contrast it with the detail on the bells and how almost photographic they are versus how liney that is. And that was kind of when Ron was about to intervene in her taking the bell, which, first of all I could think when I saw this creature, besides it looks badass, like all these hands and bells on the inside, all I could think was, let me sew the bells into your eyes. Like very Coraline-esque imagery. But the thing I really just love the way that the illustrations, they didn't just keep the same artistic style for this volume. As things got more intense and as shit was hitting the fan, it got more liney, and it's kind of, you feel the stress in the situation, you feel the anxiety, you feel the speed, you feel the kind of fighting with the situation, like the fighting with the creature, and you feel like the spiritual like atmosphere building. It stresses me out, and I really enjoyed it. It was beautiful. You can see the cats on the back. And then the next episode that is going to be continued to starts off with this last part about the master and disciple reunited, because the master would be this one, or the cat now, and the disciple would be godmother. So she kind of blamed herself for this because she didn't reel Rom in enough to keep him from making a wish or from trying to take the bell. And then he was up there again. She just, like, I get she didn't want him to take the bell from the creature, but she should have put a bell on this kid, or like a buddy pack, like a leash or something, because every time she turned around, his ass was up the mountain. First of all, how the hell does this kid get all the way up this fucking mountain without anybody seeing him or stopping him? How is the godmother that slow in her prime? I need these questions answered. Like, how the hell did he just book it up there multiple times? Like, I get you turn away from a toddler for 5 seconds and, like, they're on top of the fridge. But how did they get on top of the fridge? 2 seconds? What do you got? You got Jack Jack? Come on now. Let's be real. This isn't Looney Tunes. This isn't Roger Rabbit. This isn't The Incredibles. Let's get real. How did he get all the way up there without anyone noticing? She had to catch up to him multiple times. Multiple. And so they catch up to him trying to grab the bell, and she knows she doesn't stand a chance against this creature. And once they're in the barrier, it's kind of like too strong to get out. Like, if you're strong enough to get in, that's one thing. But once you're in, you're in. It's got to get out now. And it's just as difficult to get through this, like, spiritual force field as it is to get out. Rom can just bust up in there because he's got this super powerful energy. But in the instance of all three of them traveling up, he actually uses rocks that he stole a little bit of the aura energy. I lost the sleeve. He stole a little bit of the aura kind of energy stuff from Hana because, you know, she's so, like, overabundant. If you remember, roasting the smaller ones over it like they're on a spit, or like marshmallows when it was the big one in that haunted building when they were going after the dog. And he puts it in one of the lamb bun plushes, which breaks, which was just so sad. So they use that to get in, and then because they fight it and they weaken it a little bit, they're able to get out safely, or supposed to be able to get out safely. If we ended this episode or volume before they could actually get out, so that's one thing to think about. But then I want to know how the godmother was able to get into the barrier back in the flashback. Like, I know it's a flashback, so they're going to leave out things. They just want to give you the story so that you know the past, the history, the relevance of the now. But I really want to know how she was able to. Maybe it's because she was in her prime, so she was spiritually stronger. Or maybe it's because it was distracted because it was dealing with little Rom. But I don't really know. These are a couple questions I'd really like to see answered. I doubt the flashback ones will be. But, like, those are my thoughts so far. This volume was really good. It was very stressful. This one was very fast-paced. Apart from the other ones, which had more anxiety and stress and emotion, that kind of pulled me along at a casual pace or at a fast enough pace, but I didn't feel like I was running. This one, I felt like I was short of breath. I was running. I was trying to keep up. I was like, oh God, how are they going to do this? Like, I know they're going to get out. This is the main character. I don't see this going poorly. I don't think this is that kind of manga, although it would be cool if it were. I would also be very sad if it were. But it doesn't feel like it's going to be. So I wanted to know how they were going to prevail. So I'm looking forward to Volume 7. I've pre-ordered it. I will try to put it out as soon as it gets to my home, as soon as it's printed, and we will talk about it then. If you have read this or if you've been following along, please let me know down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give a like and subscribe. It means a ton. And if you would like to help me financially or by helping the channel grow, then please feel free to use one of my affiliate links down below. I got Audible, I got 42 Lolita, working on other stuff, and I'm trying to make my channel grow. I will have a giveaway coming out very soon for all of you. This is being recorded in November 2020, but this video will probably be posted in December 2020. The giveaway is coming. It's going to be awesome. It's for hitting 300 subscribers. We're over 300 now, but for hitting 300, I do have a giveaway. I'm still working on it. Almost done. And let me know what y'all think down below. Let me know about the giveaway. Let me know about this book. Hi, you guys. So this is going to be a quick after note. So, I'm throwing this in probably in the middle of the video, but I realized after I finished my review of Volume 6 that this from Volume 5 is a flashback to when he was going to approach the shrine to make a wish. And you have 2 shrine maidens here. So I want to know not only who are the other shrine maidens, which is an additional question I have, regardless of any other questions I may have. Because a lot of them from the last episode were answered, I believe. But I want to know what his wish was. And also, I like that this flashback is in Volume 5 and that I didn't even connect it to Volume 6 until reviewing it before I put it back on the bookcase because I've done my review. But I just thought that was a really crazy, thing, that there was, a hint in there about something going on. It was, Little Rom and the 2 Shrine Maidens. But I want to know also what his wish was. All right. Thank you so much. I'm glad I interrupted. Okay, back to me. Woo, I know that was a lot. So, yeah, if you were very interested in some of the craziness going on here, tell me down below. If you read it, what were your ideas? When I found out that they were becoming the Shrine Maidens, I about lost my mind. I thought that was absolutely insane. I was like, that was the end? You can't leave me like that to wait? That's how I felt reading Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible. It ends and I'm like, but why? So yeah. I'm steadily sitting on the edge of my seat, ready for the next volume to come out so that I can give my opinion. But this was Volume 6. I will see you here next time on SewStitchHex. Have a wicked evening. And let me know about your current reads down below. Bye.